Every leader has a moment they'd rather erase. Yet, those are usually the moments that mark the beginning of real growth. Let's talk about that. Welcome to the Coaching Talk series. This is where we dive into real conversations that help you lead smarter, work better, and live with balance. I'm Richard Fontenay, and in every episode, we'll unpack strategies that blend business insight with personal growth. Because great leadership starts from the inside out. Join me on our other podcasts, Affiliate Marketing Secrets and Speaking from the Heart. You can find us on FontenayMagazine.com. The links are below. Today, we're diving into a topic that every leader faces, but few ever talk about. How to reframe failure as a leadership strength. And let's be honest, every great scaling story includes a chapter of failure. It's part of innovation. It's woven into progress. It's part of the journey that shapes leaders into the people they need to become. Now, research supports this. A Harvard Business Review study shows that organizations that accept failure as part of learning platform outgrows their competition by 30%. And Carla Dueck once said, "Becoming is better than being," reminding us that a growth mindset views failure not as a verdict, but as a valuable learning opportunity. So today we explore how to change the story, how to lessen the impact of missteps and turn them into leadership fuel. Now, we're going to be covering a number of points. Failure becomes feedback and not finality. And failure builds emotional strength. And vulnerable leadership builds stronger teams. Reframing failure creates strategic clarity. And failure shapes your leadership identity. Now, let's get going. First point, failure becomes feedback and not finality. Now, one of the greatest leadership myths is that failure is a dead end. But the truth? Failure is data. It's information about what isn't working, so you can refine what will. Thomas Edison famously said, "I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." And whether or not you're designing a light bulb or leading a business unit, the principle sticks. Every setback contains the seed of insight. I remember launching a product that completely flopped. The sales were flat, engagement was low, and my team felt deflated. But after analyzing customer feedback and refining our offer, we relaunched and doubled our revenue by 20%. That first launch wasn't a failure. It was a stepping stone to acceptance. In the workplace, failure often appears as missing a goal, struggling with a project, or making a leadership mistake. But performing teams don't hide these moments. They analyze them, and transparency fosters the trust. A personal setback, a financial loss, a relationship challenge, or a missed opportunity can influence your resilience. And these moments teach you resilience, humility, and emotional intelligence. Failure isn't final, it is informative. Number two, failure binds emotional leadership. According to a study from the American Psychological Association, resilience, the ability to recover from setbacks, is one of the main predictors of long-term leadership success. But resilience isn't developed through victory. It's forged through struggle. You might have heard the story of a leader who lost one of the biggest clients early in his career. he thought it would end his business. Instead, it motivated him to refine his entire system, strengthen customer relationships, and to diversify his income streams. And 3 years later, he was running a successful multi-division operation. The emotional resilience he developed from what he saw as failure became the basis of his leadership. And what does this mean for you? Well, in business, resilience helps you pivot quickly when market conditions shift. In the workplace, it positions you as a stabilizing presence when others feel uncertain. And in life, resilience helps you rise after moments that could have broken you. Failure becomes strength when you let it stretch you. Number 3, vulnerable leadership builds stronger teams. Now, leaders often feel pressure to appear flawless, but research from Google's Project Aristotle found that teams led by those who show vulnerability and admit mistakes outperform those led by leaders who don't. Now, when you show you're human, your team becomes more courageous. Imagine a CEO admitting a strategic mistake instead of shifting blame. Suddenly, the culture transforms. Teams start providing feedback. Innovation increases, and psychological safety improves. A supervisor admitting, I should have communicated that better, encourages honest conversations and improves performance. And vulnerability strengthens relationships. It deepens trust and opens the door for a genuine connection. Failure, when shared honestly, inspires others, not because you're perfect, but because you're authentic. Number 4, reframing failure creates strategic clarity. Now, when leaders stop resisting failure and start analyzing it, clarity emerges. Now, here's a story to illustrate this point. A leader I once coached tried to expand too quickly. New locations, new staff, new systems, and within months, that government department was overwhelmed. Instead of hiding the setback, I suggested he gather his leadership team and admit the department moved too fast, and that it was time to rebuild. And that moment of humility resulted in a long-term strategic plan that led to sustainable success. And what can we learn from this story? Well, in business, clarity means knowing which initiatives deserve focus and which ones need pruning. In work, clarity means understanding your blind spots and improving leadership habits. And in life, clarity means recognizing where you're overextended, out of alignment, of chasing someone else's definition of success. And failure sharpens leaders who are willing to learn. And number 5, failure shapes your leadership identity. Now, who you are as a leader is not defined by your titles or accomplishments. It's shaped by the challenges that you face. Harvard's leadership research indicates that the most effective leaders have crucible experiences, transformational challenges that tested them. So your failures can serve as your crucible if you let them shape your wisdom. Reflect on your personal journey. What lessons did you gain from your toughest season? How has it shaped you to become more compassionate, strategic, and grounded? And that is leadership identity, shaped through adversity. Now, as we draw this podcast to a close, remember that failure always is part of your leadership journey, but it doesn't have to define you. Instead, let it redefine you. Your task this week is identify the moment of failure, past or present, and then reframe it. So ask yourself, what did it teach me? How did it strengthen me? How can I make a better leader moving forward? Now, next week's Coaching Talk episode will explore breaking through bias, communicating with clarity, confidence, and care. Now, this is an important continuation because the way we frame failure influences how we communicate, lead, and connect. Until then, embrace what your failures have shaped in you. They are not your scars, they are your strategy. I'm Richard Fontenay signing off for now. See you next Wednesday, if not before. Bye now.